little bit about myself, and then we'll get started. So my name is John Morris. I wear many hats at Keller Williams. Um, Been in the business be 22 years in June, so I'm feeling really old. Um, right now, what I'm doing with KW is I am a team leader in Southern California. In addition to that, I'm the regional technology director for two regions in Southern California. Good friends with Matt, who you just saw, was the area director out in Maryland for about 3 years. And I've been a MAPS coach, not currently doing that because I have way too many plates that I'm spinning. And then I'm also KW faculty and love teaching Ignite. So really excited to be here with you guys today. I am going to ask you guys some questions, and I don't know how some of the other sessions have been, but my prior life before getting into real estate is I was a teacher, and I don't like to talk the whole time. So when I ask you guys some questions, hopefully some people will respond. Otherwise, we're going to sit in awkward silence for a really long time because I don't anticipate this is going to be just me talking. Just prepping you guys for that. If you guys want to ask a question, just raise your digital hand and we will make sure those get addressed. You can also ask questions in the chat as well too, if you'd like to ask questions in the chat. Sometimes I don't necessarily read the chat, in a timely manner. So if I don't get to your question, then make sure that you raise your digital hand and let me know that you had a question in the chat. Basically, I'm teaching 2 sessions tonight. So roughly we'll probably go about 50 minutes per session. And then that way it'll give us a chance to get a little bit of a break in between for about 10 minutes to grab some coffee, do a little bio break, answer questions that you guys might have as well too. So if you're all ready to go, thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. That's really great in the chat. We'll get started. So let me get my slide deck up and we'll get rolling with this thing. Okay. Hopefully you guys have all had a really great experience so far. Ignite's awesome, and I know you guys had some really amazing instructors, so that's some good stuff. All right, and like I said, if you hopped in a little bit late, you aren't going to want to get out of here early because I got a really cool surprise for you guys at the end, right? Okay, cool. So let me increase my screen of all you guys so I can see better. And then we'll get stuff started. All right, let me move my chat box so I can see that on one screen. And let me move my participant box so that people in the waiting room can get in. Okay, and we'll get started here in just 1 second. One more person to let in. Okay, cool. All right, so can you guys see my screen okay? I just need somebody that's on camera to give me a thumbs up if you guys can. Well, okay, cool. All right, so this is Ignite session 10, keep every lead. And so we're going to talk about, a little bit about conversion today. You guys have probably done some classes on how you're going to get some leads. This is going to be more on how we are able to convert those leads, which is really important. All right, so we talked about being a real estate expert, and we're kind of in lead generation, lead follow-up, and transaction. So that's kind of where we're at in the process of this Ignite series. You guys have gone through real estate expert, or should have gone through most of those sessions already, and then lead generation. Today we're going to talk specifically about keep every lead and following up with leads. Right, which is really important so that we make sure that we're building relationships with people. And here's the way that I like to think about it. And Jason Abrams, if you're not familiar with Jason, basically is one of the VPs for Keller Williams. And I actually heard him speak in Maryland, DC when I was out there. And he said basically something that has kind of stuck with me over the last few years is the industry thinks we have a lead generation problem. And as real estate agents, especially newer ones, like I know most of you probably are, the big challenge that you guys perceive is where am I going to get leads? But Jason basically said that the real estate industry does not have a actual lead generation problem. There's a million leads that Zillow sells to people every year, right? There's people that you know that could become leads for you. You can do open houses, you can knock on doors, you could join networking organizations. There's all kinds of opportunity to meet people. And what Jason basically said is the real estate industry has a lead conversion problem, not a lead generation problem, because leads are everywhere, right? Are we doing the follow-up necessary to build the relationships to get the business that we want to be able to get? So that's what we're going to dive into today, and it's one of my favorite topics. Okay. Before we get started, any questions that you guys might have? I take silence as a no, right? Cool. Well, like I said, if you have anything, let me know. Be happy to answer that. So here's what we're going to talk about in this session. We're going to talk about what lead follow-up is, how to lead follow-up, post lead follow-up, so continuing those conversations, and then we'll do a recap and ahas, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll get to the next session. Okay. All right. So what is lead follow-up? So let's take a look at kind of this. This is one of my favorite things, and this comes directly from Jason Abrams. And basically, he calls it the emotional proximity map. And basically, the high points are when somebody moves. The low points is the day after, right? And that time between moves, typically for most people, is 7 to 10 years. And the question that Jason asks is, where as an agent is the best time to really connect with this or connect with people, right? And most people, when they, at least first saw this map, were kind of like, well, hey, man, I want them when they're just getting close to the top of the hill, because then they're going to ready to do a transaction. And then that's going to give me an opportunity to be able to close a deal, right? And in reality, what Jason said is that's not the best time to capture those people. What do you think are a couple of reasons why that's not the best time? There's really two. Somebody take a stab at it.
In the meantime, they've met real estate professionals.
Yeah, that's one of them, is that trying to obtain that lead or trying to convert that lead when they're getting ready to do a transaction, you're going to have a lot of competition out there to get it, because everybody wants those people, right? And then the second one is, I'll give you the second one because it's a little bit harder, is the second one is that it's going to be a lot more expensive to obtain that lead as well too, if you're buying leads, right? Because everybody wants a hot lead, and now a hot lead is going to cost me more money, and I'm going to have a lot of competition for it. And Jason basically said the reality is the best time to actually talk to somebody is literally the day after they move. It might seem like, hey, that sucks because I'm going to now need to wait 7 to 10 years. But basically what Jason kind of said is if you look at those lines kind of between move 1 and move 2, those are all opportunities to connect with that person, to provide value with that person, to build a relationship with that person. And over that time period, when they get to the top of that hill again, you're going to have no competition because you've built a moat around that relationship with that person over that period of time. And you now aren't going to have competition because those people are going to work with you, right? And Jason calls that building emotional proximity. So I think that's one of the things you really need to think about. And another example that I like to give with this as well too, especially for newer agents, is because everybody thinks, hey, you know what, I need to get a lead, and it's got to be somebody that I got to convert right now because I need to close a deal. Oh, somebody said that you're seeing Chat GPT. So it shouldn't be ChatGPT. It should be this one. Okay. So sorry about that. Shared the wrong screen. So basically, so can you guys all see the right screen now? It should say the life of a lead. Okay. So basically, you can see the lines here. Like I said, those are the touch points to build relationships with these people. And here's how I like to really put it. Right, is I always like to use farming metaphors for business because it really is kind of like that. If I'm really hungry and I have one apple tree in my orchard, then and I've only planted it like 3 days ago, I'm not eating if I go out tomorrow, right? And even after it grows and it's bearing fruit, there's a good chance that if I go out to that apple orchard tomorrow, an apple might not have fallen, and I'm not going to eat, right? The way that we really build a good, solid foundation in any business, but especially real estate, is that we want to make sure that we're planting lots of trees. Because if we plant lots of trees, then that gives us the ability to walk out there, and because so many trees are in our orchard, something's going to fall. And I think that that's one of the big mindsets that we need to get into, especially early on, is that, hey, man, I need to go out there and everybody that I talk to, whether it's now or 7 or 10 years from now, I got to build those relationships so that I have the opportunity to at some point have such a big field that anytime I go out there, I'm going to eat, if that makes sense. Right? Cool. Any questions on this? All right. So lead follow-up framework. So you're going to classify people as basically 3 types of leads. Possible business. So that is somebody that I might be able to do business with. And then we're going to classify it as probable business, right? We want to turn those possible business people into probable business people. And we do that through building the relationship. And if you look at the little diagram there, how are we going to build those relationships with people? We're going to call them, we're going to text them, or we're going to email them, or we're going to physically meet those people so that we develop those relationships. And if you take everybody that you meet and you do those activities, then that's going to turn into a profitable business. So that's really the framework that you want to think about when we're talking about keeping every lead is, hey man, everybody's an opportunity. And my job is to develop a relationship with those people so that that turns into business. Okay. All right. So quote from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent: if you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. Right. And here's the thing that is kind of an important stat. Is a marketing company a while back did a study, and they found that the average consumer, doesn't matter what product we're talking about, but the average consumer can remember the name of 2 brands, right? So like if I asked you guys, hey, name me a soda brand, most of you guys would probably be able to come up with more than 2, but you'd have to think about it, right? And you don't want to be the person that they have to think about. You want to be the person that just pops into their head. So for 9 out of 10 people that I talk to, if I ask that question, they're going to say Coke or Pepsi, right? And then if I think about it, okay, Crush and Sprite and all of these other different things, but that wasn't top of mind. And what's important about that, and I like the smart guy with RC Cola, right? And Ken, I'm a sports metaphor person too. I've coached football for 10 years, so you'll probably get some sports metaphors out of me before the night's over. So what's important about this is NAR has also done stats on real estate, and they say that the average seller interviews one agent 75% of the time. The average buyer only talks to one agent 70% of the time before they decide to work with them. So if we can be one of those 2 that people remember, and we can get there first, we got a really, really good chance of getting the business. If we're outside of those 2, then that substantially decreases our opportunity to get into business with those people. right? Or get referrals from those people too. Okay. And that's the other thing that you got to keep in mind too is, hey, let's say that I meet somebody that hey, just bought a house a year ago. I might not think that that's a valuable relationship because they're not going to buy probably for another 6 to 9 years. But at the same time, the MREA also teaches us that the average consumer knows two people, or at least has acquaintances with two people that are going to buy or sell real estate every single year. So if I develop a really good relationship with somebody, and even if they don't buy from me ever, but I'm their favorite realtor, right? Because maybe they bought their home, their forever home, and they never moved. So maybe I never get them for business. But over a 10-year period, they could refer people with about 20 transactions to me, right? So everybody's valuable. What are some ahas from just that short little section so far? You can type them in the chat too. I know you guys are all shy. We're on a Zoom call. I need at least two or three before we move on. Otherwise, we're going to sit here in awkward silence for a really long time. You learned nothing. Never minimize a good relationship. All right, Avery's saving you. I need one more though. Keep talking to people. Always brand examples needing to be first or second. Okay, cool. We can move on. All right. So now we talked about what lead follow-up is, and really pretty much lead follow-up is you talk to everybody and nobody's a bad lead. Oops, went one too far, right? And then our job is really to develop relationships, right? And I think what's really cool about it is that when you really break down real estate to its core, it's pretty fun business, right? Because my job is to meet people. And then my secondary job is to basically develop a relationship and make friends with them. So this business is all just really about making friends and being memorable, right? All right, so we'll talk about a plan. So the fortune is in the follow-up. So let's talk a little bit about how you build the mind share. So you meet somebody and then you put them on what we call a 19 to connect. So that means that we're going to do 19 touch points with this person that we meet, right out of the gate. So that means that we're going in year one, we're going to do 4 touches, which are going to be quarterly phone calls. So yeah, you got to pick up the phone and actually call people and ask them how they're doing. And I don't know if it's been covered yet, but there's a technique that we call the Ford technique, which means family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And that's a really easy way to have a conversation, literally with anybody, whether it's real estate related or not. You get on the phone with somebody, how's the family, right? How's the job? Hey, what have you been doing for fun? Hey, what goals are you shooting for? What are some big targets that you want to get to, right? And what's really important about those questions is that's going to tell you how warm they are for real estate. Hey, kids moved out because they're all going to college now, and so we're going to probably need to downsize. Okay, cool. And that could create an opening for me. Occupation. Hey, I just got a job promotion, got some more money, right? Cool. Well, that might be an opportunity for them to move into a better house. Or hey, I got a job transfer. Oh, wow, are you going to need to sell your house, right? Do you need a referral for an agent wherever you're going to? Recreation type things. Hey, I really, man, I'm dying. I haven't been surfing in like freaking 2 months. Hey, man, you should buy a house that's closer to the beach. That way you can surf a little bit more, right? Hey, dreams, man, I'm working really hard to make sure that I can pay for my kid to go to school. Well, hey, let's maybe have a conversation about helping you build some passive income through real estate investing, right? So all of those things that you talk to them about could then really become really great conversation starters to transition the conversation to real estate. Because nobody wants to call somebody and say, hey, this is John. You know, you looking to buy something? You looking to sell something? Do you know anybody that is? You're not doing that. You're asking them about family, how's work, how's life, and you're digging out opportunities to maybe be able to assist them with any of those things, right? So those are the 4 touches in 19 to connect. Quarterly phone call. So I meet somebody at an open house, they're going on a 19 to connect. I'm going to call them 4 times a year. And then 12 touch points. I'm going to send them a monthly email. It could be an email, a newsletter, a market report, a video. I'm sending them something, right? And then 2 touches that are a little bit more promotional. So like direct mail. So I'm going to mail them something. Could include something in there like a magnet, calendar, market report, anything that has my branding on it that's going to help them remember who I am. Remember, because we got to be one of the 2. And then 1 big touch, which will be an annual event, a party, movie screening, or if I'm not a big agent and I can't afford any of those things, just maybe an invite to a cup of coffee, right? So you can keep it super, super cheap if you want to, if you're not in a position to be able to spend a lot of money yet. So that's the 19 to connect. After you get through that 19 to connect, then you want to put them on a 1 to submit. And basically what that is, a really high value touch that solidifies the relationship you established and opens the door for future interactions. So in that process, I'm going to learn a little bit about somebody, and I'm going to do a really high value touch. Maybe it's an invite to lunch or whatever, right? Or, hey, you know what? I'm from NorCal, but I'm living in Southern California, so I hate the Dodgers. But maybe they're in the course of this, I find out they're Dodger fans, and as hard as it would be for me to do it, I would, you know, maybe send that person a Dodger hat or some sort of Dodger thing, something that's going to really make me memorable because I listen to them and I get them to feel like they know that, like I really know them, right? So that's what the 1 to submit is. And then the last thing is after that year of really trying to warm up that lead, then we're going to put them onto what we call a 36 to convert. And you see that the bars at the top, one's yellow that says leads, one is blue that says contacts. Leads is basically anybody that I'm having a one-way conversation with. So Michael comes to my open house and I meet him, but I don't really get to know him because 10 people were in there at the same time and I got his information, but I really don't know a whole lot about him. A contact is the difference between a lead and a contact is a lead, it's a one-way conversation. Contacts, it's a two-way conversation. So Michael and I got Michael on the phone, we're talking, I have built I know what he wants, I know what his goals are, I have a relationship with him, right? And then that's where somebody becomes a contact. Now, there's a caveat to everything that I'm telling you right now is the 19 to connect, that goes for up to a year, right? And what I'm trying to do is get somebody to engage with me. Again, remember, it's a one-way conversation. So out of all these 19 touches that I'm showing you right now, that means I'm only getting to 19 if they never respond back to me. If I can't get them on the phone, if they don't respond to any of my emails, if they don't respond to my text messages, if they're just ghosting me, I'm still sending all the 19 out. If I can get a hold of that person on the first call and basically I develop a conversation with them and I learn what their real estate goals and plans are, that person is not a lead anymore. So I take them off that 19 to connect. Once they become a contact, which again, now we're having a two-way conversation. So just remember, that's the difference between a lead and a contact. Lead is somebody that I got their information, but I'm only having a one-way convo. Soon as I start having a two-way conversation, I do the 1 to submit. Like, so Michael, I met him at an open house, called him twice, didn't respond back to me. So I'm still going through this plan, texted him, and then he responded back via text. Then I got him on the phone, then we talked. Okay, cool. Immediately, I'm going to send him a thank you card with maybe a Starbucks card or something that's a little bit more personal. That's going to be the 1 to submit. And then he goes to a 36 to convert. and he stays there forever, right? Because that's what we want to do is everybody that's a contact for us, we want to make sure that they get 36 touches every single year, right? And that is 4 touches via telephone, right? 26 touches, and that could be a every other week email or a text message, anything that we can offer a value to that person. And then we're going to do 2 touches such as events or get-togethers or parties or client appreciation events, things like that. And then 4 touches are going to be things like promotional direct mail, magnet, calendar, market report, any of those things, right? So 19 to connect is to warm up a one-way conversation. As soon as I talk to, and I'm going to keep somebody on that for a year. If I don't get a hold of them for an entire year and they never respond to me, I can continue trying to reach out to that person if I want to. But at that point, I'm not going to prioritize that relationship because I'm talking to air, at least at that point. I talk to them, I put them on to, I do the 1 to submit, and then they go to the 36 touch. Okay. All right. Any questions about this? This is really, really important. So if you got any questions, let me know. Okay. So we talked a little bit about this already, right? So lead follow-up best practices, consideration. Here's things that you can do in that 19 to connect, right? Is what are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of the 19 to connect to represent me? So I gave you guys an outline on the last slide, right? Doesn't mean that that's a hard rule that you got to do everything that way. Like you also got to ask yourself is, hey, when I'm communicating with people, do I write better? Am I better on the phone? Am I great at hosting parties? What are things that are going to really give me energy, right? Because that's one of the big mistakes people make is sometimes a coach will say, hey, you got to go pound on doors all the time because that's how I built my business. And maybe, that's not your gig. And so, and that's one thing that Jason Abrams, I mentioned earlier too, told a group of really top performers at a session that I was at that he was facilitating is he was like, stop doing lead generation that you hate because it's not going to give you energy. It's going to drain you and you're going to find every excuse not to do it. And there's so many different ways to get leads. Find something that is going to give you energy and give you, excite you so that you like doing it and really be more consistent with that, right? So think about you from a personal perspective and say, okay, hey, how can I adapt that 19 to connect so that it's a little bit more me and it's a little bit more in the style that I like to operate in, right? What are some reasons I might have for contacting the lead? What are some touches to do before and after the phone call? Because a lot of times people get really scared of making phone calls because they don't want to bother people and they don't know what to say and all this other kinds of stuff. It really doesn't need to be that difficult because, at the end of the day, you could just call somebody up and say, hey, man, I have, especially if it's somebody that's already. It doesn't need to be like, hey, I'm going to call my friends and family members and ask them for business. It's just using that Ford technique again, right? Because if you're my cousin, I'm going to probably get on the phone anyway and ask how the family is. I'm going to ask how work is. I'm going to ask, hey, what have you been doing for fun? And I'm going to be able to get information, right? So don't overcomplicate it because talking to people is not really that hard. It's just, like I said, the Ford technique. How am I using conversations to let the person know I'm in real estate and how to contact me and how to refer business to me? That one's super easy. So if you don't use any of the Ford technique stuff that I talked to you guys about, always use the O, right? Because the easiest way to talk about real estate in any conversation is ask somebody what they do for a living or how's work, right? Because it turns into the law of reciprocity. If I ask you, hey, how's work? What are you going to likely do after you finish telling me how work is? You're going to ask me how work is for me. Oh, I just got into real estate, or hey man, real estate's really crazy right now. So now that is the easiest way to turn a non-real estate call into a real estate conversation. So it's super easy to talk about your job. And here's one of the cool things is it's not like you guys are insurance salesmen or somebody sees you walk into a room and they run away from you because they don't want you to trap them in a corner to try to sell them a life insurance policy. Everybody has real estate or wants real estate. And you have a product that everybody is interested in acquiring, or they want to know what's going on with their house and what their investment is. So people want to talk to you. Okay. We got to train people to refer business too, right? A really easy one that I like to use is, hey, because I get on the topic of real estate and I talk about how stuff's super crazy busy. And then a really easy way to ask for referrals without asking for a referral is, hey, you know what, Joe, I just, closed escrow with like 2 clients. I got availability to work with 2 more people now. You happen to know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, right? Easy lift. Next one is, when is it best for me and my business to time block for lead follow-up? As early as possible. You guys might have heard kind of like there's a book called Eat the Frog First or Swallow the Frog First. The thing we typically hate doing the most is lead generation, and we put it off towards the end of the day, and then the day gets away from us, and then we don't do the lead generation that we're supposed to do. So it's always best to time block that early in the morning. So like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, start doing your lead generation. And then the rest of the day, if it turns into complete chaos, at least you're building your funnel, right? And suggestion is 2 to 3 hours every day, right? If we're reaching out to leads 2 to 3 hours every day, we're going to build a good funnel. And then how much time should it take to reach out to a lead? What do I hold myself account? How do I hold? What will I do to hold myself accountable? And what do I need to make sure this happens, right? So when you're having conversations with people, you don't want to call necessarily the person you know that's going to probably eat up 30 minutes of your day. If you know you're making a call to somebody like that, easiest way to get a quick exit off that call is just to let them know, hey, you know what, Matt, I had a quick minute. I was thinking about you. Wanted to give you a call. Got to step into a meeting in about 3 or 4 minutes, but just wanted to call and say hi, right? And then that gives you an exit to get off the call. And each one of your calls shouldn't really be that long. It's just kind of checking in and finding out what you can, and then trying to see if there's an opportunity to have a conversation about real estate. Okay. And then as far as the accountability part, easiest way to do that is get an accountability partner, or if you have a productivity coach or your team leader that can hold you accountable to stuff. There's plenty of people to be able to find that can help you with making sure you get done what you get done. Don't leave it to yourself, because we're really good as human beings at holding other people accountable. We're horrible at holding ourselves accountable. And so find somebody. You want the best accountability partner I ever had is, I told my daughter when she was young that we would go to Disneyland if Dad closed 3 more deals this quarter. And literally every day until that quarter was over, she was asking me if I had closed 3 more deals. And if I hadn't, she would tell me, well, you probably need to go back to work, right? Kids can be really great accountability partners too. Okay, cool. So activity, I know that we're on a tight time crunch, so I know we don't really take a whole lot of time to do the activities, but I would go back and I would do this. Is if I know that in my 19 to connect, I got to do 4 calls, texts, or conversations, what's my plan? Like, when am I going to do that with people? And what's the cost going to be for that? Cool thing is, number one, there's not going to be a cost because it doesn't cost me anything to call or text you, right? The email, newsletter, market report, video, you're supposed to do 12 of those. What's my plan? So a good sample plan here is I'm going to do a birthday card, 4 market reports, 4 informative videos, 2 informative emails, and a neighborhood newsletter, right? If I'm going to mail those, what's that going to cost me, right? Because we want to make sure that we're budgeting ourselves as we're doing this as well too. If I can't afford some things, All right, well, then maybe I'm not going to do a mailer, maybe I'm going to do an email, right? So there's ways to kind of like gauge that as well too. The promotional direct mail. Do I want to send a local sports team schedule or an annual calendar? If so, how much is that going to cost me? And then one event. I like this one that's on here because organizing a neighborhood park cleanup. Hey man, I'm new in the business and I can't afford to have some spectacular client event because I just don't have that money. Cool. Organize a park cleanup or a beach cleanup or a whatever cleanup. Have a vendor help support you, maybe buy some waters and stuff like that, and you can do a super cheap event for people for sure, right? And then I see that Joanna said that she made her first contact tonight. So congrats on that one. That's a great job. So definitely go back and make sure that you do this activity. Any other ideas on activities that aren't on this list that you guys might be able to do? I mean, there's lots of stuff, right? I'll give you one. Because I think and the reason I'm going to give you one is I want you guys to make sure that you're thinking out of the box when you do this. Fundraiser, home anniversary cards, handwritten. There's a guy I know that basically bought season tickets to the pro football team in the town that he was in. He bought 2. And basically, his mission every single home game was to invite somebody that had access to a lot of business that he could develop a relationship with. So, like a divorce attorney, or an HR rep, or a probate lawyer, or somebody that comes across people that need to sell houses. And basically, this guy got something like 50 deals a year from inviting somebody, averaged 50 deals a year just from his lead generation tactic of inviting them to a football game with him because they had to sit next to each other for 3 hours. And you want to talk about bonding. Now, football tickets are expensive, but 50 transactions off of going to those 8 games, 9 games. Guy made his money back in some spades, right? So there's lots of things that you guys can do, right? Make an impact, focus on value. Always know what your value proposition is, why you should work with me. There's 47 agents on this call right now. I could work with any of you guys. What makes me special, right? A really good way, if you're struggling with creating your value proposition, is to go to ChatGPT and ask it to walk you through some exercises to develop your value prop. Because sometimes we just don't know the questions or we don't know what we're good at. And then chat is really great at being able to walk you through, hey, what do you value? What are you interested in? What are you really good at? Right. And then it'll help you by answering those questions that it's going to ask you into developing a really good, solid value proposition. And then you want to really hang your hat on that. Making sure that we stay up with personal communication with the people. And we got to be neighborhood experts. Because the easiest way to lose trust with somebody is if you don't know what you're talking about. I got into the business when 22 years ago. I looked really, really young at the time, and I never put my picture on my business cards. And the reason I didn't is because I didn't want people to judge me before they got a chance to see me or to meet me. Because I had people walk into open houses saying, "Are you even old enough to be here?" And the minute I started talking to them, all of that went away. Like, I think in my 22 years, I've only had one person ask me how long I've been in real estate because I was just super knowledgeable about homes and my market and the neighborhoods and everything. And it was like, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? So that's how we build value. So communication, so some potential lead sources, people that call you, right? Community events, open houses, social media marketing, traditional marketing, your agent website should be up to date, your social pages, calling people, past clients, past people that we worked with before, whether it's in real estate or not, buying leads, client referrals, somebody that's calling you from your sign, blog, newsletter, These are all ways that we can get leads, and even football games, like I said, right? So some things that you should be asking them is, why are you thinking about buying or selling, right? A lot of people don't ask that question. I want to know what your motivation is, right? Tell me more about that, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, you know what? I'm thinking about selling because I want to move to Florida. Okay, cool. And then some agents will just leave it at that. Well, tell me more. Why do you want to move to Florida? What's important about that to you, right? And we always want to dig a little bit deeper, because I always tell people, I always tell my agents this, and I always tell agents that I teach this, is people don't care about the money. So like a seller, they actually don't care about the money from the sale of their house. We all think they do, but they don't. What do they care about? They're selling that house to get money to do something else. I want to find out what they want to do, because that's what's important. And we get into less fights with them about pricing their property. We get in less fights with them about our commission that we're going to charge them, because ultimately, if I could show them that I can help them get what they want, and I can do it in the constructs of pricing the house this way and charging this much, they're good with it, because they just don't know. They think they need this number, but in reality, have we really walked them through that, right? Give you a quick scenario. I talk to somebody and I say, hey, why are you thinking about selling your house? Well, I want to move to Florida. Cool. Tell me a little bit more about that. What's in Florida? Well, my daughter's in Florida, and we want to be closer to family. Okay, well, what's that going to do for you and your family by moving closer? Like, why is that important? Right? Oh, well, my daughter is getting ready to have our first grandchild, and we want to make sure that we're there to help see our grandchild grow up and develop a really good relationship with them, and be able to kind of be there to support our daughter as our grandchild grows up. And then I'm going to keep going. Like, okay, cool. What's really important about that? Well, I didn't really have a great relationship with my grandparents. They lived, on the other side of the country, and I didn't see them very often. And I always just felt like there was this gap or this hole that was missing in my life. And I don't want to have that kind of relationship with my grandchild, right? It's really important to me that we're there and we're part of their lives, because that was a really big gap in mine. Is that conversation about money, excuse me, money anymore? No, their goal is to get close to their grandchild and their daughter. Okay, cool. Well, now we're going to work backwards. What's it going to take in order for you to be able to do that? When do you want to be there? How much money do you need to make that happen? Right? Okay, cool. Now we can figure out a pricing strategy. We can figure out how much I'm going to charge and all of that other stuff, so that I can get you down by your grandkids. Right? Most agents don't even remotely go that deep. And now I'm asking, because a lot of times agents say, hey, what do I say? I don't need to say anything. I just need to know how to ask good questions. And they're going to tell me everything. And at the end of that conversation, they're going to feel like I really, really value what they want more than me trying to preach all this great stuff that I can do for them as an agent. Right? Okay, cool. Some ahas. You guys learned nothing again, man. Matt's going to fire me.
Its job is making friends.
Job's making friends. Yeah. I need at least one more. We can't just do one. Ask questions. Lead is a one-way convo. Contact is two-way.
I'd say it's your automate your 19 for your leads and part of your 36 touch program.
Yeah, love that. Some good ones that are popping into the chat as well too. So thank you guys. All right, I wanted to answer one question before we move on. Norma, yeah, the calls are available for replay. Reach out to Matt or Alana, and if you don't have access, there's a Google Drive that all of these go into. Okay. All right. Yeah, Janet, I'm a big AI guy. ChatGPT is your best friend. I'm telling you. Okay, so post lead follow-up. So this is after we established two-way communication. So this is business is like a funnel, right? We capture leads through prospecting and marketing. We put them into our database. Your telephone is not your database, right? We want to use our CRM. So you guys all have access to command. If you're using something else, cool, right? But make sure that they go into a database so that you can log calls, so that you could put notes. Because one of the biggest things that's going to make a huge impact for you in your guys' conversations is always linking something that you talked about prior with that person to the next call, right? So, hey, Pete, I know that last time we talked, you said Timmy wasn't feeling well. Hopefully he's feeling a whole lot better now. How's he doing, right? Creates that, again, that emotional connection, because wow, John remembered that Timmy was sick. I forgot that Timmy was sick when we last talked. John remembers everything, right? I don't remember everything. I just put my notes. So we got to make sure that we have a database that we're using so that we can log notes and we can see what our prior conversations with this person was. And then when they go into our database, initially that most of the people are going to be leads. Our job is to then form relationships with those people to turn them into contacts. And then once they become contacts, we strengthen the relationships and we cultivate those contacts for conversion, constantly throwing stuff out there. Hey, here's value, here's value, here's value, here's value. And then now I'm staying top of mind with that person. And then because I'm staying top of mind with that person, I'm going to get new and repeat business, which will also lead to referrals. And then when I get their business and close deals with them, then I'm going to put them back into the contacts funnel and goes through this again. So we don't need to put them through the top. This person I already got a relationship with. So now I got to just kind of like recycle it and go down this funnel again until I do business or they refer me, right? So top of funnel, you're lead generating for new people. Once you make relationships with people, you got to manage those relationships and then you turn them into clients, right? So again, a couple of rules. When two-way communication is established, the lead becomes a contact in your database. As soon as they become a contact, you move them from the 19 to connect to 36 to convert, and you cement the relationship with that high touch. Okay. And that's it. I mean, that's really business, is capturing leads, building a big database, building relationships with those people, providing them value, staying in top of mind with them until somebody says, hey, I got a job transfer. I need to sell my house and buy a house. Cool. Now they become a client. And once I close escrow, then they just kind of go back into the funnel and I keep that relationship rolling. Right? Any questions on this slide? Okay, moving right along. So again, we got the one to submit, which we already talked about a little bit, so we don't need to rehash that. Any ahas from that whole process? Okay, we got a lot that came into the chat, so I'll give you guys a pass on this one. All right, so what we kind of do after the ahas, cool, I've learned something, right? So how's your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets are new, right? So what am I going to do with this information? Okay, what do you feel differently? What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful for you today? How's that going to change your behavior? What tools, models, and systems can I use, right? So I think the thing is, I'm not going to answer the question for you on the first three, but the tools, models, and systems is you guys need a darn CRM if you don't, right? You got the model, you got the 19 to connect, you got the one to submit, and you got basically the 36 touch, right? You just got to personalize it and make it yours. Because like I said, this gives you ideas, but to be authentic to you and to make it work for you, personalize it, right? All right. Success system. we'll go over this really quick just to rehash. You know, hopefully you guys have done your 10 conversations every day. You've added 10 contacts to your database every day. You've sent out your 10 handwritten notes, and you have done your 10-5-1 on social media engagement. And the enrichments are, well, you're here, you're learning something, right? Is anybody new that maybe doesn't know what those things are? Okay. So hopefully you guys did all of this, right? All right. Always have to put a disclaimer on all of our stuff. Make sure you're checking the do not call list before you make calls. And don't call somebody that's on the do not call list, or text them if they're on the do not call list, because you guys can get fined. And nobody wants to pay $1,500 per violation, right? Okay, Norma, the 10-5-1 for the social media is, I'm going to go into social media every day, right? And I'm not going to get sucked down bunny holes. I'm not going to look at everybody's action figures that they've created of themselves using ChatGPT. I'm going to be purposeful. I'm going to get in and I'm going to get out of there. So basically what the 10 is I'm going to go and find 10 posts that I can like. All I'm going to do is like, right? That way it shows somebody that I'm engaging with them, right? And then I'm going to pick 5 posts and I'm going to comment on those posts. And so now that gives a little bit more of a personal touch to that communication on social media. And then the 1 is I'm going to send 1 direct message to somebody on social media to really try to drive a deeper, more meaningful conversation. And if you do that every day, you're going to get into some really good conversations. In addition to that, you're going to mess with the algorithms of the social feeds, because here's the deal. And I know you guys have probably all seen this. You guys got friends where you never see any of their posts. And then you go to their page and you see that they've posted all of this stuff and you've never seen any of this. And part of the reason is you haven't liked or commented or conversed on any of their posts. They haven't liked, commented, or conversed on any of your posts. And so the algorithm is saying that's not a really great relationship. We're not going to show John's stuff to Pete because they are acquaintances, they're friends on Facebook, but they don't ever talk, right? And so by establishing that communication, whether it's a like, a comment, or a DM, now the algorithm starts to see, hey, you guys are starting to actually talk. So Pete and John must actually be important to each other. So now we're going to show what each one posts on the person's feeds again, right? And that's what we really want to make sure that we're doing, is that we want to make sure that people are engaged. And that's a way that we can kind of manipulate the algorithm so that we start showing up more in other people's stuff. So it's 10-5-1. Okay. All right. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. So I got a little affirmation there. So I'm calling because I'm trying to provide value, not sell you something, right? You're better off being in this relationship with me because I am truly coming from value. If that's the mindset that you have, the calls become easier, and you're going to get more deals. All right, so I know that we don't do this in these sessions, so we'll just basically get any thoughts that you guys might have, any ahas, any questions, and then we'll take a little 10-minute break for bio and grab something to maybe drink or eat. Anything you guys got before you check out for 10 minutes? For 10. Okay. I see Julie said, can you put that slide up again? Which slide are you referring to? 10-5-1? That was just on this. I know that there's another slide on here that really talks about it a little bit more, but again, it's 10. I'm talking to 10 people a day, whether it's text message or phone call. I'm adding 10 people into my database, sending the 10 handwritten notes, and then the 10-5-1 social media. Okay. All right. It is 6:57 Pacific time. So we will take a quick break and come back at 7:07. And like I said, you want to make sure you stay for the whole session next session because I got a cool thing for you guys.
Hey,
So
I have
see
one
you
more
guys.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What are some examples of the enrichments?
So enrichments basically just means that's anything that you could do to learn, right? So I'm going to read the MREA. I'm going to read the one thing. I'm going to listen to the MREA podcast. I'm doing something for 15 minutes every day to make myself a better real estate agent. Okay. Okay, cool. See you guys at 7:07. Oh, I had to unmute myself. It's 7:07 Pacific, so we're going to get started. I got still a little bit to go through, and like I said, I got a great bonus for you guys at the end. Okay. All right, so this is session 11, follow up with the leads. So we're going to learn a little bit more on how to follow up better. Kind of same thing we did last session was number 10. We're on 11 now, and this is all about lead follow up. So what we're going to talk about today is learning lead conversion, how to convert a lead to an appointment, how to improve your conversion rate, and then we'll get out of here with a recap and some ahas. And we probably will skip over the daily success system stuff since we went over it in the last session too. Okay. All right. So let's talk about learning lead conversion. Says the quote says the effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating. A lot of people, again, it's, hey, where am I going to get my lead? Where am I going to get my lead? Where am I going to get my lead? And then when they get the lead, they don't follow up with them very well. So we want to make sure that we're putting just as much effort into that consistent follow-up as everything else. Had forgot to put the right slide deck on at the beginning here. Can you guys all see the quote by Gary Keller? Perfect. Okay. All right. So our conversion efforts need to match our lead generation efforts is the big thing. And that's dealing with a lot of top teams. I would say that's one of their number one challenges that the top teams have is I'll always hear from them that they have a really challenge with lead conversion, not themselves, right? But, they get a bunch of leads. Some of these guys get thousands of leads every month. And then they give them to their team members, and then their team members don't call them or they don't follow up with them. And then they just spend lots and lots of money, right? And so it's a big challenge. So we got to make sure that we get really good at it. All right, the lead conversion process. It's consistently, better get my glasses on too, right? Conceive fine except for reading. Consistently getting every possible appointment from the leads you generate isn't complicated, but it does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action, right? So we got to prepare for the conversations. We got to practice what we're going to say, and we got to be, make sure that we take action. So this is a little bit more rudimentary funnel versus the last one that we looked at, but it's kind of the same thing. Capture the leads, we connect with them, cultivate the relationships, and we close. Pretty simple, right? We just got to make sure that our efforts in 2 and 4 over here really match what we do in number 1 because that's what a lot of people will do is they'll focus so much on number one and then they suck at 2 and 4, right? And I've been guilty about this as well too, right? You go to an open house, and hopefully you guys are using digital sign-in now to get better lead capture. But back in the day when I got started, you had your nice little printed sign-in sheet. You did the open house on a Saturday. You wrapped up the open house. You cleaned up all the signs. You grabbed that sign-in sheet. Sunday morning, you went to church, came back Sunday morning, and then you watched the football games on TV and maybe had a little family barbecue. So you did nothing with that sheet of paper on Sunday. And, it's sitting in the back of your car. And then on Monday, you come in and you do whatever it is that you're doing, but that sheet of paper is still in your car. And a lot of the leads that you spent all that time for on Saturday, you've done nothing with. So I gotta go out there and lead generate, but now you got this list of 10 people to call and you don't call them, right? It's even worse when you pay for them. You're paying for them either way, right? Because it's either time or money that you're paying that you're spending on finding those people, and then we don't do stuff with, right? So we got to match our efforts. All right, possible, probable, and profitable. Remember, everybody's possible business, and then we develop the relationships with those people so they turn into probable business. And if we do enough of that, then it becomes profitable, right? Okay, cool. I'm not going to ask ahas on that because, well, that was pretty simple. We went over that in the last session. So how to convert a lead to an appointment, right? This will be a good one for us to really dive into. So capturing a lead is, again, defined as collecting the minimum amount of valid contact information of a potential buyer or seller. So what is the minimum amount of valid contact information that you're going to want to get? This one should be pretty easy.
Name, number, email, and address.
Yeah, if you can get all 4 of those, you're solid, right? But at a very minimum, I want to get your name and your phone number, right? Email address is great too. I want all of it, but if I had to sacrifice one of, if I had to sacrifice, some of those 4, I just want to be able to get a hold of you. And I know the easiest way to get a hold of people is by texting them. And so I got to get your phone number, right? It's kind of reversed. Like when I got started in real estate, I didn't even really care if I got your phone number. I wanted your email address, right? Because a lot of times if you call people, they don't pick up the phone. So I didn't care about the phone number so much. I just wanted an email so I could, constantly touch them or automate touching them with emails. Now people don't read their emails anymore, but people sure as heck read their text messages. So you want to get the phone numbers at a bare minimum, right? And there's actually a pretty simple way to do that that I learned from one of the top agents, probably in the world. He's Ben Kinney. If you don't know Ben, Ben is probably the top agent in the world, and he runs that place, and he's a KW guy. I heard this from his business partner, Chris Suarez. And Chris basically said they stopped taking paper flyers to open houses. And the reason they stopped doing that is because it's what we are looking for when we're collecting a lead is an exchange of value, right? We want what? It's actually on the slide. We want their contact information, right? What do they want from us, say, for example, when they go into an open house? They want information. And by handing a paper flyer to them, we give them the information that they want, and they don't have to sign their real name. They don't have to really give us anything, right? So we got to hold something back. And in order to get it, excuse me, you got to give me what I want. It's again, an exchange of value. So what Chris's team started doing is they started not giving paper flyers. When somebody came into the open house, first thing they would ask is, hey, you got a flyer on this? And Chris's team's response was basically, yeah, we have a flyer on this, but we try to be green because we're a little bit more modern. So we have a digital flyer. What's a good phone number for you? And I'll text you the flyer right away, right? Super easy way to get that phone number from somebody that wants the information. So there's lots of different things that we could do with that. So some conversion frameworks. If I were to need to contact you, what would that number be, right? So if somebody calls me from a sign call, they're probably calling my cell phone, so I probably have their phone number anyway. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody and I say, hey, I offer some value, always try to work in there. Hey, if I needed to get a hold of you for some reason because this great house popped up, how would I get a hold of you? Somebody that's really reluctant, maybe that comes into your open house to give you their information, don't press for it too much, but offer some value to them. Maybe you tell them that, hey, you know what, there's a couple other listings that might be popping up in the neighborhood that they might be interested in. If they do pop up, what would be a good number to contact them so that you can give them that information. If I found, hey, you know what, come into the open house. This house isn't really what I was looking for. Okay, cool. If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I get a hold of you? Right? If I found out the information that you want, how do I get that to you? Right? So lots of things that we could ask people to help get that number out of them, right? Or email address or whatever. Connect. So some connection best practices. Embed your value proposition into the conversation. So that's why we got to get really good at knowing what our value prop is, so that when we're having conversations, we're letting people know why we're the real estate agent that they should work with. Because again, there's somebody doesn't want the good stuff at the end of the session because we're not at 47 anymore, we're at 46, right? So we need to be really good at being able to say, hey, there's 46 people on here. I'm the one because this is what the value that I bring. And if you don't know that, you got to work on that. Okay. Role play and practice conversations, right? So I'm not sitting there saying you got to learn all these amazing scripts, but you have to learn frameworks on what you say. And the big reason why is because when we don't know what to say, we don't sound confident. And when we don't sound confident, that translates on the impression we're giving to people. And I don't know about you, but in my neck of the woods, houses sell for, the average house sells for $2.8 million, right? And if I am meeting with somebody and they're looking at spending $3 million on a property and I don't sound confident, I'm not getting their business, right? So knowing what to say, how to say it, super important. So practicing role play is really great. And like I said, I'm a big AI guy. And if you can't find somebody to role play with today, get onto ChatGPT and role play with ChatGPT. You could tell it, hey, I want you to role play open house conversations with me, or I want you to role play FSBO conversations with me, or I want you to role play expired conversations with me, and you can role play. And if you have ChatGPT Pro, which you guys all should because it's the best investment for anybody in business right now, $20. You can turn voice on and you can actually talk to it and it'll talk back to you. So you can really mimic a conversation, right? So no excuse not really to role play daily, right? And then know the outcome you want from the conversation before you start it, because that's going to get you really good at asking questions. And then it becomes easy because I don't need to know scripts. I'm at a point where I don't even really, I'm not saying some sort of magic thing. I know what questions to ask you, and you do the heavy lifting. You talk to me, right? So being really good at asking, hey, why do you want to buy in this neighborhood? What are you looking for in a house? Why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? What would that mean for you if you were able to accomplish that? You're getting down to that person's motivation. And if you can target that motivation and you can show that your value prop can help them get can achieve that, you're going to get the business. Okay. So here's 6 connection questions that you guys can ask. Who are they? So who are you? Right? Where are you from? Right? How many kids do you have? Do you have a partner? Right? What do they want or need to do? Right? So what are you looking for in a house? How soon do you need to be in the house? Right? What are you looking for? What's the, here's a question that a lot of agents don't ask, but is one of my favorite questions, because, and this is really relevant where I'm at, because houses are really expensive, is a house is at its core 4 walls and a roof, right? They have them in North Dakota for a lot cheaper than they are here. Yet people will pay $3 million or more for a house to be in Southern California. Why? Because there's a lifestyle that that person wants because of being here. They're willing to live in a shack for $1.3 million because they want to be here instead of living in a mansion in North Dakota. And that's not an offense or a dig at North Dakota. That's just the way it is, right? So lifestyle is just important as the actual house itself. So what's important about a neighborhood to you? What lifestyle do you want to live as a result of making this next move, right? And not only finding them the house, but finding them the lifestyle they want is like probably way more important than the house. Because you see it all the time. People are willing to sacrifice things that they want out of a house because it's in the neighborhood that they want to be in. So you got to ask those questions. Okay. Where do they want or need to do it? Kind of leads into that one. Why do they want or need to do it? So why are those things important to you? Why is being in this great school district super important to you? If you get here, what's that going to mean? What do you think that's going to mean to your kids? Really digging into that motivation. When do you need or want to do it? And then what's your plan? And most people aren't going to have a plan. That's where you come in. Your value proposition is you're going to help them make a plan to get what they want. Okay. So out of this entire slide deck or in your guys' manuals, to me, this is the most important page. This is what you got to master. This is the role play that you want to do with a partner or ChatGPT or whatever. Is we're getting really good at asking these 6 questions. Okay. Any questions on the questions? Okay. All right, cool. Cultivate. You can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they do. That's when you'll be able to close for an appointment. I don't know when you're going, I don't have a magic ball. I don't know when you're going to be ready to buy, sell, invest, or refer real estate. The only thing I can do is be in front of you as frequently as I possibly can, so that when it comes time, I'm one of the 2 agents that you remember. And if I am one of the 2 agents that you remember and I'm in front of you more frequently, I'm probably going to get the first opportunity. Because even if you're not thinking of me at the moment that you want to buy a house, if I connect with you the quickest after you come to that decision, you're going to respond back to me, right? And then that's going to give me my opportunity. We already talked about those numbers already. Remember, the average consumer can remember 2 people in any business. And if I can get there first, I got about a 70-75% chance of getting your business. So that's super, super important, right? And we never know, because, I can talk to Julie and Julie can tell me, hey, John, my dream is to move to Hawaii. Probably is going to happen in about 5 years. Kids got to get through, we got the kids out of the house finally, but I need to wait for, my retirement to kick in, and then we're going to sell a house. Well, next week, Julie can win the lottery and she doesn't need to wait for anything anymore, right? And if I basically say, put a note in my CRM, call Julie again in 5 years, life happens. So the only way that I'm getting that deal is you told me 5 years from now, but hey, Julie, I know that your long-term plan is to move to Hawaii. Here's some information about Hawaii I thought you might be interested in, right? Helping you with your plan, your grand exit plan for 5 years from now. Well, John, as a matter of fact, I just hit the lottery, man. I want to go out there now. Okay, so we got to be top of mind always. That's where the 36 touch comes in. Because if I'm connecting with you 3 times a month, then I'm going to be in front of you multiple times monthly. Close. When asking for the appointment, which format do you think is the most effective? Text message, email, phone call, or in person? There's no right or wrong answer to that one, right? But how does the person prefer to be communicated with? When you are able to get that person to respond back to you, what format typically do they respond back to you the quickest in, right? So obviously, if you're in person, that's that's going to be easier, especially if they're ready. That's great. Phone call is going to probably be next best because you're actually talking to them, and then text message and email as well too. But for a lot of it's going to be how are they responding to you? What do they prefer, right? And it's once you find out their why and what their timeline is, then this part becomes pretty easy, right? Hey, you know what? Just got a job transfer. Looking at moving, right? John, it's funny that you text messaged me today when maybe I didn't even text message you. Maybe it was an automated text message. It's funny you texted me today. I just got out of a meeting with my boss and I got a job transfer, so it looks like I'm going to be moving. Cool. When can we get together and we can talk a little bit about what's important to you in that move? Hey, how's Tuesday, at 4 or Wednesday at noon? This part actually becomes, the close actually becomes easy. Okay, in the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will, right? And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You don't really care what your answer ultimately is because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do, right? You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense, or it doesn't. Either way, you both win, right? Gary Keller from Shift. I'm finding basically your job, in addition to making friends and building those relationships, is providing value opportunity, value opportunity, value opportunity, value opportunity, value opportunity, until they basically tell you, hey, you know what? I actually got to do something. Okay, cool. Does it make sense for us to meet to go over your plans? Yeah. Okay. And if they're not ready, because maybe I didn't hit the lotto and I'm not moving to Hawaii for a while, cool. Right? Let me know how I can support you and help you until you get to that point, and then stay in touch with them. That's it. What are some ahas there? I need 2 here, otherwise we don't move on. Awkward silence.
Role play daily. The who, what, where, when, why, and then how.
Yeah. Yeah, Julie said the 6 questions too, and the role play I think super important. Okay. All right. So thank you, Michael and Julie and Jim now, and Jasmine as well too. Yeah, ChatGPT is your best friend, right? Because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of people that are hiring or have hired virtual assistants. And I think the people that are running virtual assistant companies are in some deep trouble because ChatGPT can outperform a VA any day of the week, right? And it's going to change the game for a lot of real estate agents. I'm going to actually do a pitch for AI right now really quick because I think it's important and I want to make sure that I bring this up. I think it is crucial that all of you guys dive into learning AI as much as you possibly can, because here's the thing, and I'm going to bring up Michael as an example because he's on my first on my screen right now. Michael and I are both real estate agents, and we both work the same market. We both do the same amount of business. I'm not asking you to envision who the top person in your market is. I'm asking you to envision who is your direct competition. So Michael sells 20 houses a year. I sell 20 houses a year. We're about the same age. We work the same area, and him and I would both consider each other our worthy adversary, right? We're both on the same playing field. This AI thing, I think it's a cute little tool that agents are making action figures of themselves on, so I don't take it very seriously. Michael goes in and he really dives in on, hey, how can this help me with my business? How can this take workload off of me? How can I automate things? How can I create better emails? How can I create better text messages? How can I actually use this to create better social posts that become more viral? And he does it in a fraction of the time that I can. I'm confident that if I sat down one-on-one with any real estate agent on the planet, I can show them how to save an hour of their day by using AI. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Hour a day, if you work 5 days a week, turns into 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week in most months turn into 20 hours a month. 20 hours a month turns into 240 hours in a year. In order for me to help my business flow, I hire a VA or I hire an assistant, right? So, and my VA or my assistant isn't putting out as good or as good quality as the AI can do. Now what happens a year later when Michael's really dug into this and I haven't? Michael has 240 hours more that he could spend on his business than I do. He's got more money because he's not paying somebody to do it. I am. And the quality that he's putting out is better than mine because AI is better than a human at putting out quality stuff. How long are we going to stay competitors or worthy adversaries? He's got more time, more money, and he puts out a better product. Not long. So if you're not getting in on the AI stuff, you're going to get left behind. I taught an AI class to our local board a couple weeks ago, and I gave them the same message. And one of the questions I asked them at the start is, hey, because this was a lot of agents that have been in the business for a long time, and I was like, how many of you guys feel like you'd be able to run your business without the internet? And everybody kind of laughed. And then I said, oh, what about your cell phone? Like, how many of you guys think you could run your business without your cell phone? And everybody'd be like, you wouldn't be able to do any business. And I'm like, okay, right now we're kind of like the infancy of AI, so a lot of people aren't taking it seriously. But this is going to scale much faster than the phone or the internet, and people, it's not going to even take 5 years. People are in a very short period of time are going to be able to say, hey, I can't live without this. I wouldn't be able to run my business. So do it now, right? I got a question here that says, do you think overusing AI would conflict with your in-person relationships, considering most people more than likely wouldn't talk as professionally as AI? Well, two things on that. AI is getting better every day, and it can talk pretty professionally. Same thing is I'm not asking AI to write some in a tone or a manner that I wouldn't speak in. I'm talking to it daily. I'm feeding it things that I've written. I'm giving it sample emails. So it learns my tone. So I ask it to write like I would write. And then those are the messages that are going out. I'm not asking it to make phone calls for me, right? I'm still making those things. But here at the end of the day, it's this, Jenna. If Michael has 240 hours more than I do, how much more personal can he be with his relationships than I can? He's got a lot more time than I do. He's got more bandwidth. He can be a lot more human. He can be a lot more personal. And the messaging that he sends out can be written like him, right? So that hopefully that answered your question. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about improving the conversion rate, and then I'll share the gifts that I have for you guys. So here's how you improve your conversion rates. Time block, right? And again, AI can help you with that too. Here are the 3 most important things I got to get done today. Time block it for me. And it'll create a calendar for you so that you don't mess it up. Or if you're pretty diligent about protecting your time block, hey, 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to do lead generation. 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to do lead follow-up. And those are those 2 blocks I'm not messing with. That's going to happen every day. The world could be burning around me, and those are time blocked appointments. I'm not messing with those time blocks, right? And I even train like clients that, hey, you can't get a hold of me between 9 to 11 because I have appointments booked, and you can't get a hold of me from 2 to 3 because I have an appointment booked during those times, right? And you could do it in a way that makes them not feel important. Hey, 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning, I don't need to tell them that I'm lead generating. I'm going to tell them that that's the times that I'm out there negotiating deals, making sure escrows don't fall apart, all of that stuff. And if we're in a tight negotiation, or if we're in an escrow that you want to get closed on time, wouldn't you want me to make sure that I'm protecting that time so that I can get that job done for you? Yes. Cool. All right. Well, that's why I'm not available during that time, because that's what I'm doing. Right. And if something urgent pops up and you need me right away, text me 911 and I'll give you a call as fast as I possibly can. Right. If it's not urgent, I'll call you back. Just text me that you need to talk to me, and I'll call you back when I'm not in when I'm not doing that. Right. Easy way to protect your time so that and I'm not setting up inspections during those time blocks. I'm not setting up things that are going to interfere with that. Right. Use systems and conversations. So I'm role playing. I'm learning what to say. I'm getting more confident. So that's going to increase the conversion. I'm using systems like a 36 touch plan or a 19 to connect plan, and I'm automating some of those conversations via text message and email utilizing my CRM so that things don't slip through the cracks. You get some like people that do heavy lead generation that have thousands of new leads that come in every month. It's impossible to keep up with those things if you aren't using some sort of system. And you want to make sure that things don't slip through the cracks. So make sure you have really good automated systems in place. Connect with your whole database. Don't forget about people. Don't call your friends that you like to talk to every day. Call everybody, contact everybody, make sure everybody's getting followed up with. And then prioritize the qualified leads. So I'm making sure I'm having all those conversations with everybody, but every day, the people who are the hotter leads, I'm contacting them first because they're the most urgent to talk to right now. And that's really the 4 ways that you improve the conversion rate. Anybody have any questions on any of those 4 things? Either you guys are tuning out or I'm a really good teacher. All right. The lead conversion model, again, is to capture the appropriate information to get a hold of the lead, right? Making sure that when we get a hold of those leads, that we connect with them to convert them to a contact, and we assess what their timelines are. We establish a relationship. We find what they value so that we can send valuable things to them. And then we cultivate that relationship over time by having them on a 36 touch, by sending them valuable things that are important to them. And then we close by asking for the appointment when we find that they are going to relatively soon buy or sell real estate, right? And we just keep repeating that process. What are some ahas? I need two. Consistency and confidence. All right, I like that one. Use more AI, definitely. Must have systems in place. Overwhelmed with great information. That's what I'm going to help you with, Aggie. That's the gift that I'm going to give to you guys. Specific times to time block and confidence. Time blocking, yep. Systems in place. Cool, all very good ones. Okay. So recap. Think about how your thinking's changed, what ideas or mindsets are new for you on things that were impactful that you learned today. What do you feel differently about? So what are some things that maybe you know you need to change? In MAPS coaching, one of the things that we talk about, and I think as a new agent, you're drinking from a fire hose for the most part, because there's so much information thrown at you. Basically, from a learning standpoint, we as a MAPS coach, we basically say we need to take people from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, meaning you don't know what you don't know, so you don't act on it. You learned something today, so now we've made you aware. We've taken you from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. Okay. Now you basically, with this information that you got, you need to make a decision. What am I going to do with it? Because now I know what I don't know, and I know I got to do something with it. And if you don't take what you learn and put it into practice, then nothing's going to happen, right? And they say that they've done studies, and I don't know the exact numbers, so don't quote me on this, but they say when you attend any sort of training session, if you do not put into place what you've learned within like 48 hours, there's like a 75% chance you'll never use it. So you got to actually take action on at least one or two items that you learned tonight, right? And then, that goes into the third one. How will your behaviors be different going forwards? What actions are you going to take? So what are at least two things that you learned that you're going to do? And then what tools, models, and systems are you going to use to make sure that you do it, right? And so to kind of complete those 4 stages for you, as a person that doesn't know, I am in a state of unconscious incompetence. I don't know what I don't know, so I can't do anything about it. And then I become aware of it, and I go from conscious, now I go to conscious incompetence. I know what I don't know. And then the next phase that we do is we take action, and we go into what we call conscious competence, meaning I'm doing it kind of like riding a bike when I'm for the first time. I'm doing it, but I got to think about steering the bike. I got to think about pedaling and I got to think about balancing so I don't fall. So I'm not moving very fast, but I'm doing it, right? And then the final stage is riding that bike without thinking about it. We go to unconscious competence. We just do it, right? So we got to take some action, and it's going to feel like a labor. It's going to feel kind of like, hey man, I got to like think about all of these things. And then at some point you're just going to do it, right? Okay, cool. Success system, like I said, just make sure that every day, because I can tell you right now, any of you guys that have aspirations to CAP, if you didn't do anything else, if you just had 10 conversations every day, added 10 people to your database, send 10 handwritten notes out and did the 10-5-1 and spend 15 minutes learning something new, you would cap your first year. 100%. Like if every agent in our company just did this, the entire company would be cappers. It's not really that, it's not rocket science. I always tell agents, real estate's not hard. And everybody always says, oh, it's so hard. It's this, and it's like, it's not hard. We know what we need to do. We just got to have the consistency of doing it, right? And if we do these things, you're going to be great. Okay. All right. I'm not going to really go over this. We already did this. Affirmation again is I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution or providing value, and people are happy to be in a relationship. And that's it for that. So now I promised you guys that I would share something with you guys, and I talked to Matt about this first. So I am going to share something with you guys that is AI, right? Because I'm a big AI. Actually, before I go into this, any questions that we went over or anything that you guys want more information on? Or we feel pretty good about the content? Or you're like, hell, John, we went over so much today, I'm overwhelmed. That's all good. Because this is going to help you with this. Now, my flavor of choice for AI is just ChatGPT because it's the biggest and they advance the most for the most part. There's lots of different things that I use for different purposes, but ChatGPT is kind of my go-to. So I built something in ChatGPT for you guys. Not specifically for you guys, but for Ignite. I told Matt, I just got done finished building this, and I haven't given it to anybody yet. So you guys are the first people that are going to get it. So let me share this real quick. So can you guys see my ChatGPT screen? Yeah. Okay, cool. So now this is not going to work for you if you don't have a ChatGPT Pro account, because ChatGPT, and it's not because I'm charging any money for it. It's free, but ChatGPT has this stuff over on the side here that it says Explore GPTs. What that is it's custom GPTs that have been built. And the reason why you need to have a pro account is because ChatGPT does not let you access custom GPTs unless you have a pro account. Pro account's about $19.99 a month. Best investment you'll ever make to spend on your business. And so I can't strongly encourage you enough to do that. So I'll explain what custom GPTs are here really quick. If I click to Explore GPTs, you can see it's kind of like the App Store for your phone. Lots of different businesses like Canva and Scholar GPT, Video AI, just like your App Store. Lots of different individuals and businesses have created a ton of custom GPTs that you can use. Now, people will ask, what's the difference between a custom GPT and me just going to ChatGPT and asking the same question? The thing is that people that build these so that you don't have to necessarily be good at prompting. It does the heavy lifting for you. They bake knowledge and they train the GPT to act and behave in a certain way and provide knowledge to it so that it gets really, really specialized in that particular area. So what the custom GPT is going to do, your regular chat GPT, by asking it similar questions, aren't going to respond in a similar manner. It's not going to have necessarily the same knowledge base and all of that stuff. So some of the stuff in here is really good. And you can see if I go and hit search GPTs, I can type in real estate, and it's going to give me a bunch of different GPTs out here that people have made on using real estate. Like there's a real estate law advisor, right? There's AI assistant for real estate agents. There's underwriting commercial real estate. There's all kinds of stuff in here that you can kind of explore and see if it's good and use. The cool thing versus the App Store is that at least right now, all the custom GPTs, ChatGPT doesn't let the creators charge for them. So any of the stuff that you find in here, you're not going to have to pay for, right? Which is really cool. So what I wanted to share with you guys is I created a custom GPT called Ignite Navigator. And basically what Ignite Navigator is I have provided this GPT with every bit of information on Ignite that exists. And I trained it to act as kind of like an instructor when your instructor is not there for you. So if you feel like you missed something, or you want to get a repeat of something, or you had a question, or hey, what was that 1051? You can go to this GPT and you can pretty much ask it anything. There's a couple kind of conversation starters on here, like, can you walk me through the daily 10-4? I missed a session. Can you help me catch up? Can we role play the lead conversation? What should I focus on today? I'm feeling stuck. These are all things that can kind of help you get started, but literally you can ask it anything about Ignite and it's going to help you with it, right? So it's not really a coach. It's more of helping you review lessons, role play with you, take action between sessions, friendly, focused, and built to support you every success step of the way, right? So like, for example, I can click, can you walk me through the daily 10-4? And it knows what it is. Absolutely, right? Here's the daily 10-4. Each day aim to complete the following: 10 contacts, right? Gives you some tips, 10 follow-ups, preview 10 homes, add 10 people to your database, why it matters, right? And then what's the social media 10-5-1? That question popped up. Great question. 10 likes, comments, right? 5 messages, real estate post, right? So, like I said, you don't need to necessarily use this if you don't want to, but if you have ChatGPT Pro and you would like to use it, I'm going to drop the link into the chat. And then now, basically, if you need help with any of your homework, you have questions, you need assistance on anything, this is here to help support you guys with that stuff. So let me get the link for you guys. You're not going to find it in the GPT store because I want to, if I publish it in the GPT store, then anybody that's not KW is going to have access to it. So it's a hidden GPT, but it is free. And if you have the link, that's all you need to access it. So I'm dropping it into the chat box right now. And oops, my message said to send to everybody in the waiting room, but nobody's in the waiting room. So I changed it to everyone. So there's the link to it. And just think of it as, hey, you know what? My instructor for Ignite gets to come home with me and is there 24/7. And if I have any questions or need any help with, or I need to a role play partner from any of the conversations that are in there, you have access to that 24/7. Okay. So like I said, that's free, other than the fact that it's not free to have ChatGPT Plus. Cool. Any questions about this or any of the content that we went over, or any last minute ahas that you guys had? We got a few minutes left. Guys are making it too easy on me.
I have a question for this free ChatGPT. If we have a free one already, do we use that same sign-on or do we need to create a new one?
Yeah, so you don't need to create a new account. Let me share my screen here again real quick. Like I said, you need to have a pro account, but you log into the same one, and then you can go into upgrade. You click in the top right corner, you can click your little initials, and then you can go to upgrade plan, and then there is the plus, which is $20 a month, the pro, which is $200 a month. You don't need that. So that's the current plan that I'm on. Then I click on that, give ChatGPT my payment information, and that gives me plus. And plus is going to help you in addition to the custom GPTs. If you go into ChatGPT, you get access to the higher level ones. Even on the free, they give you access to like GPT 4.0, but they limit how many questions that you can ask it during the course of a day. And then basically after you hit that max, then they make you go down to one of the older versions of that that's not as strong as, and it's not as robust. So your ChatGPT experience is going to be much better by going to Pro, just when you're using it on your own as well too.
So for new realtors, what can we utilize ChatGPT Pro for? Like what kind of features we can use it for? Creating
like, literally anything. Like, so if you, I'll share another one with you guys as well too.
You can please show us an example or something that you use frequently or
Yeah, for sure. So let me give you this link too, because this is a free one as well. That I created. This one, actually, I'm going to put it in the store because this is not a KW one. Let me copy the link first, though. So I forgot to actually publish that one. Okay. So that one, the Smart Listing AI, and my name's attached to it. So once ChatGPT publishes it, then you'll be able to find it by searching for it. But the Smart Listing AI one, I'll just give you a quick example. So, hey man, I want to save some time. I want marketing done or whatever like that. Cool. I got a brand new listing. So I click start marketing your listing, and then it asks me some questions. Great. What's the property address for the property?
what
So I'm going to just put anything in here just for the sake of speed. 345 Smith Street. Okay, cool. So this is going to be a little slow for some of you people that want fast. I make you go through this like this the first time so that it trains you how to use it. And then you can, next time you use it, you can say, hey, I want to go into speed mode. And then you can just type in everything into one paragraph so you can make it faster. Okay, what's the list price? 2.8 million. And great, what's the square footage of the home? 3,000 square feet. Cool, how many beds, baths does it have? 5 beds, 3.5 baths. Oops, 5, 3.5. Great, what's the lot size? 0.3 acres. Thank you, what year was the property built? 2007. Awesome, what's the property type? It's a single family residence. Are there any notable upgrades or renovations? Kitchen renovated last year. What are the flooring types? Tile and hardwood. What are the kitchen features? Stainless, Viking appliances, granite counters, and custom cabinets. All right. What are the bathroom features? Dual vanities and jetted tub in the primary. You just enter everything that you know about the house, right? Any unique features? Fireplace in the living room and primary suite. Cool. Exterior features of the house. Garden in the backyard. Pool and balcony from the primary suite. Beautiful. What's the parking situation? 3-car attached. So I'm not having to be a good prompter. It's asking me simple questions, right? Tile roof and fully landscaped front and back. Great. Location highlights. Pacific Ocean view. Ocean view. Close to award-winning schools and near downtown shopping and restaurants. Cool. What neighborhood or community name? None. Got it. Is there an HOA? No. Perfect. Now, would you like me to create a buyer persona for this property? Most people don't know what a buyer persona is, but basically by creating a buyer persona, this could then help the AI actually create marketing that is going to appeal to the most people who fit the criteria or the avatar as being the most likely buyer for a house like this in this area. So I'm going to say yes. If you know your target audience already, you can say no, and then you can put my target audience as this. Okay, excellent. I'll create a tailored buyer persona to help you guide your marketing strategy. Now, do you want an MLS description, social media captions, property flyer, email campaign, or the full marketing suite? Full marketing suite. Perfect. Would you like me to include fair housing disclaimer in your marketing materials? Yes or no? Some states are different, and so I made it so that you can put it on there if you want, or no if you don't. And then it'll put the fair housing disclaimer actually in your stuff. Cool. Here's the full marketing suite for this property. Creates an MLS description for me that is targeted towards that buyer persona and is going to highlight the lifestyle amenities that that type of person wants. It's going to give me who that target buyer is and what they are looking for. It's going to give me 3 social media posts for Instagram, 3 for Facebook, 2 for LinkedIn, 3 for TikTok. It's going to give me all of the information that I should put on my flyer. If I'm going to send a just listed postcard, what it should be on the front, what it should be on the back, an email to send to my database, and then a social media posting calendar on which day of the week to post, what platform to post, and which one of those posts should go on there, right? Took a little while to enter the information about the house, but then it created everything for me. And so that's just this tool. If you're using your own Chat GPT, that's what you can use it for is, hey, I had a really tough buyer conversation and I didn't know how to overcome this objection. Can you help me? Right? Let's role play this. Like literally, people are making action figures of themselves on the and posting to social media. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? That doesn't help you with your business. You can actually use this as your business partner, as your admin, as your social media marketing manager. Like the possibilities of utilizing this in your business are like completely endless. And then at the end of all of this, it created all of this stuff for me. And then it asks me, hey, do you also want me to bundle everything into one file? And then I can send this to your seller to show them how you're going to market their property. Do you want to switch to speed mode for faster intake next time? Do you want me to change the MLS description style so that it's more luxury lifestyle focused, or would it be investor appeal? So opportunities with AI, like I said, are extraordinary. I think I forgot to give you guys the link to that one. So let me give you guys the link to that one. While I'm pulling that up, is there any other questions? And I didn't read the chat as I was demoing that. So if I didn't answer your question in chat, if you want to let me know what the question is, I will answer it. But let me get that link. Copy link. And so that smart listing AI thing I just showed you, there's the link to that one. And that's all I got for tonight. Anything that you guys didn't get an answer to or that you need? I'm seeing lots of mind blows and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, really cool stuff. All right. Well, hopefully you guys had a valuable time this evening. It was my pleasure to present to you guys. And thank you for tuning in. If you guys have questions on any of this stuff, or just questions in general, or especially around AI type stuff, I'm dropping my email into the chat box. It's just my first and last name at kw.com. So John Morris, JOHN MORRIS, at kw.com as well, right? And that's really about it. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.